All right, the art of questioning is what I call this training, because I think, like he was alluding to, you need to ask these questions to your clients when you are actually presenting the QA. Before I even get to this, I've already presented the theory of decreasing responsibility, why term is necessary, right? And it's important to ask questions to your audience because number one, you do want to empower them, right? You don't want to be like talking all about yourself and your products. They are gonna lose interest. And by the way, anytime I have a Zoom client, I refuse to do appointments when their cameras are not on. It's a waste of my time because I want to see if they're actually paying attention. I'll be like, look, I can't see you. So, just FYI. But two, you gotta keep them, it keeps them engaged, right? I mean, obviously if you keep talking, and they're like, falling asleep, it keeps them engaged when you ask these questions. It also ensures that your audience is actually understanding the topics that you are discussing, okay? And it does help address their concerns. Now, every slide in the QA does warrant a question. Remember that, okay? And, I see myself on here. Anyways, why get life insurance, number one, okay? If you were to die today, this is a question you would ask your clients. If you were to die today, would your family be in a better position, worse, or worse financially, right? How much is, I don't know, but okay, because I see myself on here. So obviously, a responsible person would say, I want them to be in a better position, right? Because nobody's gonna say worse. Like if they say worse, just stop their point. It's not worth wasting your time, okay? How much is your family's peace of mind worth to you? This is really important, right? They can buy a pair of Jordans, come on, right? How much is your family's peace of mind worth to you? Do you have the luxury of knowing when and how we are going to pass away? Two things are permanent in life, okay? Two things are certain, death and change, okay? How much do we pay for car insurance? And I ask this on purposely because, people never think about how much they pay for car insurance, right? I do this on purpose. I do this every single presentation. Why is that? How much do you guys pay for car insurance?
$300.
How much?
$300 a month.
300. You must have really nice cars. Needless to say, if you were driving your car, right? Do you ever want to get into a car accident?
No.
No. You never say, oh, you know what? I wish I could get into a car accident today so that I can get money from the insurance company. Never, right? And that kind of like, oh, you know what? I never thought about it. Why? Because these stupid cash value agents demonize term insurance. Like, oh, you keep paying the term insurance, but if nothing happens to you, your money's gone. But of course, they conveniently leave out the important things, which is term is very inexpensive. Now, I say, okay, how much you pay? $300. How much is all your cars worth? What'd you say?
$80,000.
$80,000, right? With term insurance, if you're under 35, you can get something worth $50, or less than $80. Your family get $500,000. Then they're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Okay. So now, obviously, when we talk about the different types of insurance, then these are the questions that I say specifically or ask rather, depending on what they have. Now, I am strategic, right? Because if somebody has group insurance, I really hone into these questions. So group insurance that you have through your job. So the first thing I ask is, do you have a copy of your policy? Obviously they don't, right? And of course, because it's not theirs, right? Would you leave your job if you find something that's better, has better pay, more flexible, and has a better commute? I mean, it's probably gonna be yes, right? And like for me, I was a nurse for almost 26 years, and I think I left, I've been through 8 employers, right? Why? Because I found something better, right? Better commute, whatever the reason is. And I will ask, how much coverage do you have at work, right? And typically, they'll make up some number. Oh, maybe 100,000? They don't know, right? And typically, if they do, it's like 1 to 2 times your base salary. Now, do you think that's enough? And they're like, oh, never thought about that, okay? are you certain you will die at work? I mean, it sounds like a funny question, but people don't think about that, right? And this is one of the biggest objections you'll always have. Oh, I have something at work. Why? It's automatically deducted, right? But then they don't realize that there's a lot of different conditions that are basically actively at work requirement has to happen, right? Can you guarantee you will always be healthy enough? Now, this is also important because, I use my husband's brother's story because this is true, right? People love true stories, right? Because they can relate to it. So, my brother-in-law who passed away from cancer, brain cancer. So he was diagnosed with brain cancer at the age of 39, okay? Now, mind you, before that, I replaced his trash value policy that it was paying $203 for only $150,000 of coverage, okay? And thank God I replaced it. I replaced it with something for $148,000, $500,000 each, and because of the IBR, they were insured for $600,000 each by the time he passed. So when he was diagnosed with brain cancer, within 30 days after he was diagnosed with cancer, because he needed multiple surgeries, radiation, and chemo, he could not be physically at work. He was still an employee, okay, getting short-term disability pay, but because he could not work physically, actively for the company, they basically sent him a letter saying that his life insurance from his company had been discontinued. Now, him having cancer, that is considered uninsurable, right? Now, can you guarantee you're going to be healthy all the time? Absolutely not. Okay? How long would it take for your life insurance benefit to be effective if you did switch employers? There's another thing. Any given time, you're switching, employers, your benefits are not active the moment you start working. There's a period of, Probation, right? That you have to pass that probation for your benefits to be active, okay? So those are really good questions to ask if somebody has group insurance, okay? Now, when they have cash value life insurance, I have more than this, but these are the main questions that I ask. So why do consumers do buy the cash value? And they alluded to this earlier, right? Savings, retirement, liquidity, loan availability, they can pay for college, all this stupid bullshit, right? Then I asked them, are you aware of the costs associated with these type of policies? And again, they conveniently do not ask, they leave it out, right, when they are presenting it to their clients. Would you still purchase it if you knew how it worked exactly? And are you aware of the multiple fees, charges with these policies? If we could provide you with a better plan that addresses your concerns, would you like to check it out? Right? So these are cash value, questions that I ask. I have more, but I'm gonna throw that out another time. Now, when they have term, great, right? Because we already know that they're insured, right? And if they do have a term insurance, after I've explained the fear of decreasing responsibility, I would say, wouldn't you prefer to pay a lot less for more coverage, right? This is like if they had a cash value, because in cash value, you pay more, have less coverage. Term, you pay less and get more coverage, right? Are you aware we have multiple products that can potentially help you retire comfortably, right? Because we say what? Buy term and invest the difference, right? So a lot of people are buying those cash value, buying it for the savings. They think they have both, right? But we have securities professionals here that can help them with their investments if you're not a securities licensed person yet, okay? If you were to pass away, would you prefer your loved ones receive both benefits, the cash value, like you were saying earlier, and the insurance, which basically happened to my brother-in-law? If you outlive your term policy, what happens to all your assets upon death? Okay? If you did outlive your term and you have enough assets built, would you prefer that your assets are used for your care and not depend on your children who may be raising a family of their own at that time? Okay? These are very, very important questions because a lot of them say, oh, it's the living benefits. Okay? Now, every single company offers term. Every single. However, it's being discouraged. And the main reason is money. Agents make a lot less when they sell term because our commission is based on your monthly premium, right? So, why Primerica term is, in my opinion, and from my experiences, is like the Louis Vuitton. Because we're talking about legal time. All right. Number one, very important, you have access to your agents, okay? When my brother-in-law passed away, my sister-in-law did not make a single phone call to a 1-800 number. Why? Because Samir, helped us, myself, get this death claim process, and they paid out within 14 days. They mailed the check in 14 days. She got it in her mailbox within 19. Post office is not 3 days anymore. Okay. We do a financial needs analysis. Now, if you go onto your app, there is a section there where it says insurance needs, where you can actually put in how much insurance they will need, right? And it's really unique. They look at it, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool, right? What do the cash value agents ask their clients most of the time? How much can you afford, right? Why? Because they know if they actually did a financial needs analysis, it would be thousands of dollars, several $100s, and most people are gonna be turned off because they can't afford it, right? And for the ones that can't afford it, they're gonna pay anyways, right? And it's just ridiculous, okay? Our company is unique in the fact that we do offer 35-year term policies. Most companies offer most companies only offer 20. A very few offer 30, right? And they will still encourage 10 or 20. I've had cash value insurance, clients that have a cash value and they have a 10-year term. And I said, you see this? Look at this. You're paying so little for more coverage and you're paying so much for this coverage. And I said, why did your agent only give you the 10-year term? And they said, I don't know. I said, I'll tell you why. They're justifying why you need this garbage. Because they're telling you that, oh, this insurance is permanent. If this lapses, right, if this ends, then you still have this. So it's a double perk, so they're making commission on the term, and they're also making commission on the insurance. Because what do these fools say? Buy term and invest in a stupid IUL. Unbelievable. Number 4, we do have a war or terror clause, okay? Very important, because 9/11, I always tell the story. Back then, there were a little over 200 insurance companies in 2001, okay? Now, out of all the 200 companies, there were only 3 that paid out the death claims. And I even tell them, go Google and see that there are still class action suits ongoing for non-payment of death benefits for the victims of the 9/11 attack. And it just makes it a lot more real, okay? We are very efficient in the claim process, which I already explained earlier, okay? Over 90% of our death claims are paid within 2 weeks. That's very important. Sometimes you're like, oh, this is cheaper. Yeah, but can you get the death benefit? Even Samir has a client that had both AIG and ours. AIG still to this day has never paid their death benefit. Okay? So what's the purpose of buying something cheap when your family can't get it if they need it? Or give you the runaround, okay? We have a terminal illness rider, okay? This is one of their go-to, no, it's a living benefit. You can only use it when you die, like our insurance. But they don't tell them that we actually do have a terminal illness rider in our policies. And guess what? There are no conditions or exclusions, meaning that if a healthcare provider says that you have less than 6 months to live, you can accelerate 40 to 70% of the death benefit right away. Because sometimes the difference between living and dying is money. Remember, health insurance does not pay for a second opinion. Okay? And if you just had that money to get that second opinion to extend your, life expectancy, would you want some cash to be able to access for that purpose? Okay? We do have an increasing benefit rider, important also, because increasing benefit rider, and for those who do not know what it is, it basically allows the client to increase their death benefit 10% every year with no medical exam, even if they weren't not qualified. Okay? Because it keeps up with inflation, and sometimes people at the beginning, they don't have a lot of money, and if they see like $2, $3 a year, they're not gonna really, get all bent out of shape because of $3, but increase their death benefit, okay? And this, like I said, happened to my brother-in-law, where initial death benefit was $500,000, by the time he passed away, it was $600,000, because he increased his death benefit twice, even with cancer. And I had a client that I think I told the story, like last time I was up here, where she had a term that was expiring in March. So I had already replaced this policy, but she was referred to me in January. I didn't know who she was, but she was referred to me, and she said that she was trying to renew her term from her current policy at that time, because it was still January, and they automatically declined her on the basis of she already had cancer diagnosis 6 years prior. And the agent said, oh, you're not gonna qualify. Like, who does that bullshit? Like, all these other companies out there. Yeah, it's cheaper, but these are the kind of things that you're paying for. And she was so, and I was very upfront with her. I said, look, I don't know if you're gonna get approved. It is 50-50, and just because I have a medical background. Well, she got approved. Very happy. Right? And she's not even Filipino. All right. And last thing is, you gotta look up Primerica. Every time somebody calls Primerica a pyramid scam, I laugh. Because all I have to say is, why don't you look up our ticker symbol, PRI? And if they're, if they don't do stocks, they don't even know what that is. So I actually pull it up. Yahoo.com finance, PRI. It's over $245 per share. And I said, look up Wells Fargo. You know Wells Fargo, right? Not too, but sometimes when they hear a familiar name because they advertise, right? They're like, oh, this is the real thing, right? Wells Fargo is less than $50 per share. Does that mean just because they advertise they're better than us? No, because we're trying to undo the injustices that financial companies are doing, right? Which is not teaching them the right principles so they can better themselves and not the banks bettering themselves, right? I used to say Bank of America, look up JP Morgan Chase. We're all worth more than all of these companies. And yet they have the nice stadiums, nice buildings. It just goes to show that Primerica is investing in helping, the middle class families, okay?